Thanks for reminding me, Anjali. Okay, then you have the sampling count. You just select the corresponding floor. It's going to tell you how many non-compliance and compliant results you have. Let's see if I have an example. Choose Libby. Nope, we don't have anything. Let's show my demo. There we go. And you have this, for example, this one. You can see there a very nice line graph. And another interesting feature we have is called a heat map. So each sampling location is color-coded. If it's green, it means all the results are compliant. If it's orange, it means that you have some results out of tolerance. And if they're turning dark red, it means there are a lot of detection of results out of specification. All right. Note that this range is customizable. So if customer don't like the color, we can help them to customize the range and also the color. And the color configuration applies to all your compliance meters and also the heat map. And you have the non-compliance by zone. And it's supposed to be a bar chart, so you can see which zones has the most results out of tolerance, and the non-compliance by stage. So stage is a concept we use. We refer to the FDA's Listeria guidance. If it's the first time you detect results out of tolerance at the same location, it will be stage 1. When you're doing the reswapping at the same location and you find the result out of tolerance again, that's called a stage 2. And again, when you do the reswap for your stage 2 results, you find again the result out of tolerance is going to be stage 3. So in the system, by default, we turn on for stage 1, 2, 3. However, it's configurable. Someone would go up to stage 4, 5, 6. It's supported. Our limit is stage 10. So stop at stage 10. We will not trigger any corrective actions automatically. And you have the non-conformance data. Scheduled task is just any sampling schedules assigned to you. And the non-compliance count by week, and this too needs to be updated. They're all dated. That's it about the dashboard. And when we start to do the onboarding, we will start from the master data. You can see there is a long list here. To categorize them, we have the equipment. So each equipment, we will have to upload an image. This is required if you want to create any sampling location on that equipment. And when you create a new equipment, note that the equipment type is also required. You can create your own equipment type here in the master data menu. This is only for trend analysis purposes. It's an extra option for you to categorize your equipment. If you want to use it for example, I want all my line 1 equipment to be one type, a line 2 equipment to be another type, you can do that. So these are customizable. Another type of sampling location is drain. It looks like this. It's a little drain on your floor. Why is that? Is because that is the dirtiest area in the production room. So usually if you want to look for any contamination, I would swap my drain to see if there is any pathogenic microorganisms. And same thing here, you have the drain type customizable. You can create your preferred drain types if you want to. And other options like the risk type, usually you only have 3 risks. These are provided by default: low, medium, high. What we consider as high risk is usually the direct food contact surfaces, which means the conveyor belt. If you're producing, for example, cookies, the cookies sit directly on the conveyor belt, and that's the direct contact food surface. And we consider that as high risk, because if that surface is contaminated, there is a high chance your food is also contaminated. Then you have the medium risk. We would consider zone 2 and zone 3 as medium risk. Zone 2 means the surface that is very close that is next to your direct foot contact surfaces. For example, the two sides of your conveyor belt. And zone 3 would be the area that is close to your zone 2. For example, the surface, the floor underneath your conveyor belt. Then the low risk we will consider the zone 4. Zone 4 means an area that is far from your direct foot contact surface. For example, your warehouse and also your office area in a food manufacturing facility. Okay, so all that concept that we refer to the FDA's listeria guidance. But as you can see here, the risk type is also customizable. Let's say our customer don't like these options. They have a different standard for risk type. They can use this crate just to create a new risk level. Okay, and the swabbing method is where we will upload the different swabbing method. We will upload an image to give a guidance. So this image will display in the real sampling records. So when someone goes on the floor to swab a surface, they can refer to this image to see what method should I apply to sample the surface. Swab type is a tool people use to swab a surface. It could be a Q-tip, like the Q-tip the makeup Q-tips, and also you have the sponge. You have different types of swabbing tool. And if you want to document them, I would go here, swab type, and create a new item for our customers. And of course, if they want to keep it simple, they want to use our default options, they're available here. The traffic flow is another type of the sampling location. We're not opening the customization option here. It used to be available, but we turn it off because we don't want customers to create the traffic flow type. We already have enough. What else? And the analysis is one of the most important things to configure because this page by default comes with a blank page. We have to help our customers to build their own list of analysis to do. So they can have listeria, they can have APC, E. coli, salmonella. They can create different analysis as needed. And for each analysis, we need the analysis name. We need to define the result type, whether it's qualitative, which means the result could be negative, positive, absent, present, or it's a quantitative analysis, which means something like less than 10 CFU. It's a numeric value, then you choose quantitative. It can also be descriptive, but it's very less used. So most of the case where you only use these two options. Then you're going to select, for example, APC is only for zone 1, and I have listeria analysis for zone 2, 3, and 4. That's where you select the different zones for that analysis, and you need to select the swabbing tool. It's a hydrated sponge on a stick or dry sponge. You choose the one that customer uses. A swab method is the method usually we refer to customers SOP to take a screenshot and name the swabbing method. And this, if you see global, that's provided by default. A result representation, since I choose quantitative, I need to choose a unit of measurement, whether it's CFU per swab or just the number per sponge or MPN. These are customizable. And the reference method is the analytical method you can find on customer's certificate of analysis. In the US, people tend to use the FDA's the BAM method, and in Canada, we have also a different methods list. And those are the information you can ask from your customer. Okay, so that's for analysis, and the next step will be configure the specification. Specification is very important. Why? Because if in our system, the creation of corrective action is automated. What it does is that when you enter the results to the system, it's going to compare your results with the specification. For example, E. coli, I have my tolerance less than 10. If I have a result higher than 10, 11, 12, or something else, it's going to create a corrective action automatically. There is no way you can create a corrective action manually, so you must have the specification configured and in place. Any questions so far? Are good? Okay. So the result
Uh,
yes.
Ilan, I have a question regarding when we were looking at the one of the map. I saw a map of the company, well, with some specific points and some steps. Uh, we create the map of the factory in the platform, or we upload the the map of the factory.
I'm not there yet. I'm still explaining the master data. What you're
Oh,
asking is under layout. So
yes.
you must start with the master data, because without this configuration, if you go to layout, you're not able to create any markers. You're not able to save the floor plan. So I'm explaining in the order of implementation.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll be there the next step. And the last thing in the master data to configure is a corrective action. To select a corrective action, in our system, there is no free text. We have to select it from a drop-down list. So here is the available list that we have. If the customer has something else, for example, organize a heads-up meeting or escalate to the regional manager, those are the things you need to create for them. So we will enter the corrective action name and select which stage shall I apply this corrective action for. Why is that? Is because sometimes, for example, they are organizing a heads-up meeting. You probably do not need that corrective action when you have a out of tolerance APC results, because it's not pathogenic. You don't want to escalate to the regional manager right away. However, if it's already the force detection, you're still not able to reduce your APC count. Then that's the time we want to escalate and ask for help from the higher management to resolve this issue. That's why you have this stage option here. And note that if you select just the stage one, this corrective action option will only be available when you have the first time detection. Whenever you have a second, third, fourth time of detection, this corrective action won't be available for you. So usually what we suggest our customer to do is to check all the stages just to make sure I will have this option available at all stages. Okay, that's it about master data. That is one of the most time-consuming part during the onboarding process, because the customer needs time to figure out the analysis list that they want to do. Some of them want to revise their specifications or tolerances. And also for this equipment, they must go on the production floor to take an actual picture of their equipment. So this equipment photo usually takes the customer around a month or a month and a half to gather all of them. And without this equipment photo, without analysis, without specification, we are not able to move forward to the next stage of the implementation. Okay, now I'm going to move to the second phase of the onboarding. That is what Camilo is mentioning in the layout. So we're going to create a layout for our customer. In each layout, you're able to insert multiple floors. And the floors means a map. If you have a fairly small facility, maybe one floor is enough. Just the one map like this is enough for us to insert all the equipment and the swapping location. However, what we have seen is that our customer has fairly large facility and they have different layout, a lot of equipment in each production room. In that case, we don't want the heat map to look too busy, because when there are too many markers, you can't tell what markers are which equipment. So we will suggest them to split them into different floors, and they can insert the markers separately on different images. All right, so to insert a marker, like I said, we have to have the master data configured. It's very simple. You just click this orange button here, and it's going to give you the three options. Equipment, you want to indicate a swapping location on the equipment. Drain, you want to place a marker on the drain, or a traffic flow. You want to trace the traffic flow of your material or your people, and you want to drop the markers on the trace. we would recommend equipment because that gives a better indication. I'll explain why. So for example, I selected this equipment. I'll have the photo. Next stage is where you're gonna define the location to swap. I have two types of markers as options. One is point marker. One I want to go general. I don't want to define the specific area I want to sample. So I click anywhere on the image. I'm going to enter the marker name. And I'll select a zone. And the corresponding analysis will populate. And this list is coming from my master data. That's why I'm saying if you do not have master data, you're not able to do anything on your floor plan. These options are automatically populated because I selected zone 4 for this analysis. I can remove the ones I don't want or add the ones I want to include. And I'll select a risk type and a surface, just to select some random things. And this additional info is just a comment box. It's optional. The second option for markers is area marker. That's useful when I know exactly where I want to swap, or it's just take a small portion of this image to swap. So here I want to sample the screen of metal detector. I circle that area. And it's going to give me options to select which analysis I want to do. I'll select the zone 2, for example, or just to select a random stuff. And all you need to do here now is to save it. That new marker is saved to your system. And if you worry about what if I make a mistake, it's no longer here, I want to move it, it's doable. You just drag this little dot, it's going to be moved to another place. And also the area marker is the same thing. I can click this, oops. This. Oh, no. Oh, no. Access. I'll close it. All right. Here we go. Access. Okay, so you're supposed to move it. Usually, yes, like this. You click the corner of that marker, you will be able to drag it and resize it like this. All right. So this is a second step. We will help our customer to upload their floor plan and help them to build the markers. And these markers will be used later to do our analysis. Camilo, do you have any more questions about the layout?
No, thank you so much. That was clear to me.
Okay, so you have the table view. You can see the markers you have inserted, and you can see the zones, the test, and all the information in the table format if this floor plan is too difficult for you to click and see. All right, so that is about the layout. That's the second step. And the next step will be building the schedules. So what happens is that in a facility, usually the EMP happens on a regular basis. For example, the zone 1, I want to sample on a weekly basis. I want to do 5 Listeria and 5 Salmonella. And zones 3 and 4, I would do on monthly basis. And every month, I would do 10 APC tests, something like that. We have a way to help the customer to automate the process with our scheduling tool. So you go to this menu, it's the number 4th option, it's called scheduling. You can create a new one, give your schedule a name, and schedule start date. You can only select it today and later as a start date. And schedule end date, on the other hand, is optional. If you want the schedule to repeat itself without an end date, you just leave it blank. Description is optional. You can assign it to multiple people. And note that only the assigned users will be notified about this scheduled records, and only the assigned supervisors and operators will have editing access to the record. Fixed date, marker type, I can choose fixed, random, or fixed plus random marker. So fixed marker means I want this schedule to generate a list of swapping location, the same list of swapping locations in every record. Random means I have a pool of markers. I have 100 Zone 1 markers. For example, every week, I wanted to pick randomly 10 markers for me to swap. And it's going to finish the rotation by the 10th week. So starting from the 11th week, it's going to refresh the marker pool and start from fresh. Fixed plus random marker, the use case would be, for example, I have a high-risk location. I want to make sure that in all of my scheduled records, I always include that marker or markers. Now I would choose fixed plus random markers. What happens will be in every record, I will have certain fixed markers that is always going to be included and some random markers in my list. Okay. And the marker pool is a list of markers that you can configure on this configuration manual, the scope of the schedule. So let's say I only want to sample my Zone 2 markers, then I will create a marker pool for Zone 2 markers. And there is nothing but Zone 2 markers I have in my layout. And a fixed markers 1, a random marker 2. Now the frequency. There are many options. You have one time. That's only going to happen one time. Every day, every weekday, every week, every weekday, every other week, or every other weekdays. And every month, quarterly, every year, random, and custom. I'll just give an example of every week and only weekdays. You are able to select when the schedule will start and when the schedule is due. And there are two logic. Filter means your entire week will be available to sample that. And this schedule will start on Monday. And whatever you select here will be populated on Monday, and you have until Friday to finish it. Split means I don't want everything to happen on Monday. I want one marker to be sampled on Monday, and another happens on Wednesday. So I can split them. So what happens will be on Monday, I will have a record with one random marker from Zone 2 to do salmonella test. And every Wednesday, I will have another record with only one random marker for E. coli test. I hope it's not too confusing. And the schedule list part is for you to preview what are the dates and times it is expected to generate a record. As you can see, I have Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. And I have the same due date here. And the marker list is for you to preview all the markers I have in the selected marker pool. And now it's the time for me to select my fixed marker. And I can select the entire marker with all the analysis included, or I can select just a few of them. All right, if I save it, it's going to help me to create records automatically with this logic. Questions? No? Okay.
No.
Cool. Now we have configured everything, and it's the time for us to start doing the sampling records. Oops, I have the bug again. Yeah, there is something wrong in my demo environment. Yep, here we go. So this monitoring manual has two submanuals. Sampling means all these sampling records that ask you to collect the samples from the floor and do the micro or any analysis that is listed. Corrective action means any results that is out of tolerance is going to generate a corrective action. And you can see all the corrective action in that manual. And in each of the submenus, you have several tabs. My action lists everything that is assigned to you and needs your attention. Scheduled means all the records, well, that has ever been scheduled, whether they're assigned to you or somebody else, they will be listed here. As long as the status is still in progress, they will be listed here. And completed is all the records in the histories that has been marked as completed, which means the results has been given. And archived is where you have all the records that you have deleted. All right, I'll just show, okay. We do have a lot of bugs in this module, so don't be surprised if you see something like this. So here and also in this manual, we have some options. You can export the list in a list format. You can clone a record. You can also archive it or see the audit log. Note that many of these functionalities are limited by roles. Only managers and above will be able to see the full list. If you're having an operator or supervisor account, you probably don't have these options. Right, and other than the scheduled option, so you can see the schedule type, you have scheduled, which means this record is generated from your schedules. And the corrective means that is a reswapping record that you configured as part of the corrective action. Manual means I'm creating this record manually. Use this create button. Whenever you generate a new record, you click create, you will start from scratch. So it starts from the first stage, general information. You give your record a name and you select which building, and you also select the floors. The date created will populate today's dates by default, but you can change it to something else. Schedule start date, you can also change it as needed, and schedule end date is your due date for this record. I'm going to give it more days. Let's select this. So I have until February 20th to finish it. Today is Feb 7th. I can assign it to multiple people if I want to. I can select different people here. Now I will add markers. So when you add markers, there are several options. Either you create a new ad hoc swap, or you select it from the old ad hoc swap, or you select the existing markers from the selected floor. So these existing markers, you can see equipment, drain, or the traffic flow. These are coming from your layout. Whatever you configured in the layout will be available here. What does it mean by ad hoc swaps? So what happens is that our customers, sometimes they would do an inspection on the floor. They will see, oh, there are some trash there and it looks very dirty. I want to collect an investigational sample just to verify if my environment is clean. So those markers are not part of your layout. Instead of asking the customer to create a new marker in the layout, we bring the option of ad hoc swap, where you just need to give your marker a name, select the floor, and select the zone and test. Surface type and risk types are optional. You don't have to include them. Then you add it to the system. You can say, okay, so I want to swap the floor at the entrance or the east corner of my warehouse, something like that, just clear enough for your operators or the people on the floor to understand where to swap. And also, if you have a location that is often being investigated, you can use select from the old ad hoc swap. Those are the swapping location, the ad hoc swaps you used in the history in previous records. Okay, I'll just select one and select the one from here. APC, I'll list here. There we go. Oops. Okay, because of this, right? Here we go. I have two markers, and you click this marker, you will see the map view. You can see, okay, I want to swap there on my floor. I know the location of the equipment and the marker, and you can change it to marker view, and you can see exactly where I need to swap on that equipment. All right, and for ad hoc swap, that option is not available because we never inserted any images. And you can see the analysis, the swap tool, so that you're gonna know which tool I should use to swap that surface. And swapping method will give you the image you have uploaded in the master data, and you need to know the zone and also the floor name. You can add comments as needed. The general information part is completed. I know where and where to swap and what to test. Next stage is generate label. So we have a supported label machine. We share with our customers. They can connect to the system directly to that label machine. And once they confirm everything looks good, they can click generate labels. It's going to print them the label stickers they can stick on these sample bags. And the corrective act.
So
sound.
Stephanie has a question. She sent me via inbox. She's asking if a company can upload the results from, any surface or food or whatever they do, analysis they do, so the heat map can be generated automatically.
Food, no. This is only for surfaces.
Yeah. But can they upload it so it's auto-generated, the heat map? No,
and
right?
They upload what?
For the surface.
No, the heat map.
Of the heat map, yeah, we will have to upload it manually in this case. You will have to put the results of the surface you are doing the analysis.
The heat map is generated with the results
Yes.
that have been gathered through the sampling records.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have any results, you don't have any record, the heat map will be grayed out. You don't have any color-coded points. So you can't do any uploading. You have to collect the sample, collect the results through the sampling records.
Okay, yeah, I think that was her question. Let me see. If not, we will ask again. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. I didn't know you were here, Claudia. Yeah. All right, so the next stage is sample collection. You click collect, and you're going to select the markers you have collected from the floor. Click confirm. And at this stage, if you're using any mobile device, click this button. It's going to activate your camera, and you can upload an image of the location you swap. After collection is done, I can move to the next stage called analysis. So that's where you are going to prepare the analysis request form. We have two options here. Depends on our customer. They could use their internal laboratory, or some they don't have internal laboratory. They must send their samples to the external laboratory. If that's the case, we bring the external lab drop-down list. So this can be configured in Smart IEM, external organizations, and service provider. You create a service provider as an analytical laboratory, and that name will populate here. And you select, and you select the date and time when you submit the analysis. If I selected both options, then I have to select the samples for internal and external labs. What usually happens is that internal lab will do the do APC or E. coli, those tests, and for external lab, they will do usually the pathogenic analysis. Okay, I select them like this, and whatever I configured in master data, like reference method, and for this analysis will populate here. All right, and you click submit again. You will enter the results stage. And I should be asked for the download the form. For internal lab, I only have Excel, and for external lab, I will have both PDF and Excel. I'm not going to download them. You can test it yourself. And here in the internal, if you just have one or two results, you can enter them manually. I'll enter something out of tolerance. And for external, qualitative analysis will be a drop-down list. It will give you the options you configured in master data analysis. For quantitative analysis, you will have a number field, and you're able to enter any number. And just for your information, results like this is also supported. Okay. And for external, you can select it from drop-down, and you can see your specification directly here, and you can compare them. The Excel spreadsheet that is going to ask you to download, you can enter your results in Excel. If you ever miss that pop-up window, you can download that template here, then upload it back. And the results you enter in the Excel spreadsheet will be imported to this list. Present. Okay, all good. I'll click submit. and it's going to help me to preview my results. So I already know for compliance, these two are compliant, these two are fail. So I supposed to have 2 corrective actions generated for each of them. I click confirm, and it will move me to the last stage compliance. And that means this record is concluded and I have finished this sampling record. The next step will be for me to handle these 2 corrective actions generated. So the dev team has implemented something that I'm not 100% sure, but for now, if I click this corrective action, oh, it's generating. Okay, sometimes if you click it right away, it's going to tell you the corrective action is not generated yet because it takes time. Usually around like a minute or 2, it's going to create your corrective action. So this is linked and you can open the corrective action. It always starts from the first stage configure. In the general information, you can see the non-conformance details, the map view, the marker view. You can also click this link to open the original records where this non-conformance has been originated from. Or you can click this layout to see the corresponding floor plans that has been affected. The schedules is where you're gonna select your reswapping. You can click reswap 1. I think Angeli knows that, but many of you may not be familiar with that. So for any environmental non-conformances, usually what we do is we do some corrective actions like sanitation, we'll host a meeting, we'll evaluate the effectiveness of the sanitizer we use, and also we will do the reswapping. Reswapping will be swapping the original location where the non-conformance has been detected, and also the vector swaps. So the areas around that area where we have the non-conformance, just to make sure, just to confirm where that contamination is coming from, and also to make sure our corrective actions like sanitation of the area is effective. If in the reswapping results, the same analysis has been detected again positive, it means that our either we didn't clean the correct location or our sanitation was not effective to remove that contaminants. Okay, so that's why in the scheduled page you have 2 things to configure. One thing is your reswapping records. I want to do 1 reswapping, or for example 3 consecutive days of reswapping of the same location, or some would do 7 consecutive days, or some would do 1 the next day and another one a week later, and the 3rd one a month later. So you're able to configure all those options here at the schedule page. You can select the start and end date and time for that swapping schedule. I'll select it today, and I can assign it to different people. It's the same way, and I have a logic for closed and open. Closed means that any corrective action like cleaning and sanitizing I'm creating under this reswapping records are associated together. And I cannot do my reswapping sampling records until this corrective action is closed. That's the closed schedule. If I choose open schedule, it means that this can happen at the same time. I can do my cleaning and sanitizing, and I can also do my reswapping records at the same time. So these 2 are not tied up together. All right, and the corrective action, I'll put it here, and I can assign it to different people. I'll send this here, send it to myself, and I can select due date for my corrective action. Here for the reswap number 1, I have the list of those vector swap information that automatically includes my original location where I have the non-conformance. I can add a schedule. I can add a reswap 2. And I can select the start and end date and time. I want to do it tomorrow. And I'll have this, and I'll give that as a due date. Assign it to myself again. So here it's the same logic. I can add a corrective action tied to my reswap number 2, or I don't have to. I just use my reswap number 1 to add more corrective actions as needed. I have all this drop-down list coming from the master data. so that's how you configure the reswapping schedules and corrective actions as part of the corrective action. And the vector swap page is where you can select the vector swapping location. So by default, you know that's where I had my detection. I can drop some marker, so vector to around the surface. Then, or I can add markers from somewhere else. When you click add markers, it's going to give you the same option as you can see in the sampling records. You can create a new ad hoc marker. For example, that ad hoc marker is outside of this image. I want to sample somewhere else. You can enter them as ad hoc marker, or you can select it from existing marker from the same floor plan. Okay, so I'll select this one. There we go. And you will notice there is a tiny little drop-down list here. You can separate, you can assign the different vector swap locations to the two different schedules. For example, this one, I want to assign it to reswap schedule number 2, and this one I want to do it in reswap number 1. I click add, and I can go back to this schedule, and I will see this vector swap 2 is added to my reswap number 1, and the other new marker is added to my reswap number 2. All right. That's how you configure the actions you need to do as part of corrective action. Whenever you finish, click submit. It's going to create the corrective actions and assign it to the people. This assigned to user are going to receive a notification to work on the corrective action. What he or she can do is to mark it as closed, and close date, upload supporting document, enter comments. I click save, and it's going to mark this corrective action as closed. And the next step will be the generate label, sample collection. These stages are the same as any sampling records, because this information is coming from your reswapping schedules. Now, if I go back to the sampling under my actions, and I will see all the reswapping number 1, 2, 3, 4 that I assigned to myself will populate here. The record creation is automatic. Okay, I'll show a closed example. For example, this one. So these are all the associated corrective actions, and these are all the associated reswapping records. If I have multiple, and I will be able to see it here, schedule list 1 or reswap 1, reswap 2, they will be listed here for me. So starting from this point and above, the general label and all this stage is just a place for you to centralize all the associated reswapping records. To complete the records, you can only do it in the sampling records here. It's a complicated system. A lot of things are involved, so I really don't expect you to understand them right away. It takes time, and also you will have to do it yourself for at least the one full flow to understand how the different components are connected to each other. All right, so this one is a good example. In the general label stage, you can see my reswapping day 1 is having a different date and time, and the reswapping day 2 are like this. I can see the different stages of that, of the corresponding reswapping records. And I can also see the results and the compliance. I can see during my reswapping records, everything is compliant, is passed. It means that my corrective actions are effective. All right, one last thing to present is this reporting. So all the results that you have gathered through the sampling and corrective actions are exportable, and you can come here, change the date and time range, and you can download your data in Excel format to do pivot table or to do whatever you want. In the next production build, we're going to bring the customizable reporting, which means you can, if you have seen the smart record module, it's going to be the similar thing. You can create your own report, select your fields, add filters as needed, and build a nice dashboard for yourself. Okay, that's the most complicated module we wanted to explain today. Any questions? No, nothing?
Sorry, Lan, I have a question.
Maria,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Angeli.
Okay, for the label that's generated, what's on the label? Is there like a QR code? So there's a QR code that's basically linked to the sample.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my demo environment. Here, even if you forget to download them, you can still download it in a generate label stage. I click download.
Okay.
There we go. It looks like this. So it's a tiny little label that gives you the mark name, the
Okay.
mark ID, the floor, the analysis, and also a QR code that helps you to open the record directly.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Good.
And Claudia has another question.
Maria Jesus has a question. I'm trying to understand the question.
Okay.
It's like she's saying that, okay, you are configuring the marker from the design, from the map, right? But she's asking if it is necessary to do it from the corrective actions. I tried earlier and I was not able to. Like, it's not taking what's in the design. And
yes, to create the markers, you do have to come here and to create equipment marker, drain marker, and traffic flow markers. Another place, I think she's referring to the configuration of the corrective action.
yes.
So yes, so this vector swapping is where you're going to configure the vector swap locations. It's not going to be documented in the layout. It only exists in these corrective actions. So for example, I have a positive of listeria on the doorknob, so that I know it could come from someone's hands, right? That's why they open the door and there is listeria on the doorknob. So I sample a lot of vector swap locations. I can select from the doorknob, around the doorknob, I can swap there. I can also add some random vector swapping location, like see each employee's hands, I'm going to swap them. And that swapping location as vector swap only exists here in this record. You're not going to find them anywhere else. Is that
Okay.
what Mary is asking for?
¿Es eso lo que preguntabas?
Sí, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Excuse me, I have a question. This module only works for environmental sampling, or for example, does this work for food sampling, for example?
No, it's not designed for that. When you select the, for example, the zones, you will notice you have only the option for zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the categorization of the surfaces, the equipment or the floors. And you also have the water and air. That's also part of the environmental monitoring process. But you're not going to do any food analysis in this module. No. If you want to do food analysis, we have a module called Smart Compliance. That's where you can do your raw material and finished product analysis. We also have the Smart Record module. That's where you can customize as much as you want the analysis report form or the sample form, but not here. Smart EMP is exclusive for environment monitoring.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Anything else? I think that I'm a bit verbose here, so we already take 1 hour for explaining EMP. It's likely going to take longer compared to our scheduled date and time, so I'll try to speed it up. The SMART specification is the next module I want to explain today. So that's where we design to manage the specification. So as you can see in the main manual, we have 4 types of specifications you can build: raw materials, work in progress, finished products, and packaging materials. And those 4 specifications are interlinked. For example, in my finished product specification, I want to build a recipe, I can easily link my raw material and work in progress specification to my bill of materials section. That's where we manage the recipe. And I can use a packaging material specification in my finished product spec to build the pack format section. And some of you may be wondering, what is work in progress? Imagine you're a factory producing pizza. So you buy the flour and you buy the yeast and you make your own dough. So that dough is something we call work in progress. It's not going to be the final product that you're selling to your customer, but you're making that product in between for your finished products. Okay, so all of these are optional. Most of our customers, they don't use all these 4 manuals. They only use the finished products and they will not touch the raw material, work in progress, or packaging material specs. It happens. So we will suggest the right way to our customers based on their needs. As you can see, these 4 manuals are for where you create your specification. But before we do that, we have to go to the configuration manual to start to make the template. Template means the empty format of a specification. You have multiple options. Whenever you create a new spec, you have 2 options here. In a material group, you can select a certain material groups to create a material group specific template. Or your company does not maintain complicated format. You only have 1 format for all of your packaging material. You will create something called generic template, where in this drop-down list, you will select all packaging material, and this template is going to apply to all your packaging materials. And your material list comes from the Smart IEM. Comes from the master data, then the material manuals. The raw material, finished product, packaging material will see the same wording here, and the same list will present here when you start to build the specification. All right, in each spec, we have certain fields that is hard-coded, you cannot change. Like this template information, you cannot change. The general information is hard-coded, but you can select the fields you want to populate. Many of them are grayed out, but some of them are customizable. Let's say I don't want to display the global material group. I can now check it. I want this plan to be mandatory to be filled out. I can click this required. That's going to be highlighted with a red apostrophe. And the characteristics section is hard-coded. You cannot remove it. Then that's where you're going to list all the physical, chemical, microbiological properties, like the dimension and also the weight range, the color, the appearance, the water activity. That's where you're going to define the list. And okay, so this is a packaging material. Let's see, a finished product one. There we go. And also under the characteristics section, you have this bill of material. Again, it's hard-coded. You cannot do anything with it. That's where you're going to manage your recipe. So for raw materials, you're going to have the options of the ingredients. For work in progress, you will have the option to select the raw materials plus ingredients as part of your bill of material. And for finished products, you're able to select raw material, ingredients, work in progress. 3 options are available. It's a bit confusing, and I would strongly recommend you to explore by yourself to play with the bill of material section. And the nutritional section is for you to manage the nutrients, the nutritional values, the nutritional factor tables, your allergen declaration, and also your claims, like kosher, organic, non-GMO, those kind of stuff. And the pack format, again, is hard-coded. You can only choose to remove it if you want to. However, you are not able to configure the fields to display or mandatory. Then, starting from packaging, you will have the customization, customizable fields. We call them dynamic fields. You click this plus icon, you will add a new section. You can name it the way you want. and you can configure the section. You have different formats, like the description. It's a text box. You can change the text alignment. You also have the image with descriptions. You have a description box. On the other side, you have a place to upload the image. Only one image is allowed per section. And you have the description with upload, text box, plus a place to upload any supporting files. It's not limited to image, and you can upload multiple files as needed. Images, you can choose a number of images to display per row. So if I choose 3 and I upload 9 images, it's going to be 3 by 3 display. Yes, Claudia, thanks. And you have the columns. That's where you can build a table. I can define the labels here. I can define the input type. And data grid is a dynamic table. It's like Smart Record. I'm going to select the headers. And while I'm creating a specification, I can add more rows as I go. Okay, so this has no limitation. You can create as many as you need as dynamic sections. And under each dynamic section, you can create as many as you want as subsections. What we usually do is that we take the customer's template, we study them and try to find the commonalities, and we will build the template for them to review. Whenever they approve, then we will create some customers will prefer to build their spec by themselves, and some others would prefer to have our help to create their specs. Okay, and that's the most important thing to configure for Smart Spec. And another thing is workflow. Compared to other modules, it's very, very simple. You can only select the scope, for example, then the levels. You want to approve and who to publish. And one of them, if they accepted this spec, is going to move to the next stage. All right, now we can take a look at one example of the spec. For example, the finished products. I would prefer to show it in the testing environment because we brought some new enhancement. Does everyone has access to the QA1 environment? Yeah, okay, so that's where we have the new features before it goes to production. Okay, I'll create a new one. I'll select the generic template, confirm. All right, so here, before I start, I want to see the difference between the generic template and material group template is only at the characteristic section. If you use a generic template, you're able to add your characteristic, the properties, while you're creating the specification. However, if you choose a material group specific template, you're not able to customize this field. The only thing you can do is to enter the tolerances. So this list of property is going to be fixed in material group specific template. All right, and we also offer the single pack and multi-pack option in a finished product. If I choose single pack, I can only select one material in my spec. If I choose multi-pack, I can select multiple materials from my from the list. Okay, then in the packaging section, and I can select a different pack format for these two products. This is because sometimes you use the same formula, everything is the same, but you pack them in two different formats. It could be a 500 millimeter jar. It could be a 1 kilogram box. So instead of creating two specifications with identical information, you can select multiple materials in one spec. So it's going to simplify this spec management. I'll select a random stuff. The name and item code are grayed out because they're coming from Smart IEM. If you want to make a change, you can't change it here. You have to go to Smart IEM. Give a custom name, the country of sale, and the brands. You just select as needed. And in the characteristics sections, that's where you're going to list all your physical, chemical, microbiological properties. with their tolerances. And the nutritional part, by default, we're giving this, oh, the bill of material is not selected in this template. Sorry, give me 1 sec. Not here. Not here. Anyway, all right, let's see if this one works. It was there yesterday. Yeah, bill of material. So in work in progress, like I said, you can select the raw materials plus ingredients. I'm going to add them, and I can change the label name. I can change the country of origin. I can change the quantity. Let's give it that gram. I can add the new ingredients as I go. And this section is supposed to be populated automatically if I have bill of material. And you can see the breakdown of the different, the source of the energy, the source of the fat. All right, and the allergen section is also automatically populated. If I select this certain allergen for one of my ingredients, it's going to be selected by default here. Of course, you can override it, but this is to help our customer to better manage their allergen presence. And the claims, if strawberry and dark chocolate both have the kosher claim, it's going to be populated here. However, if just one of them has that claim, it's not going to be here. You can still add them manually if you want to. And the interesting part is this section, the ingredient list is auto-populated. It's going to show the label name you put here. Let's see, I remove all of that. I just keep strawberry, the list will be shorter. And the allergen is everything you selected as yes here is going to be populated here. And if I change this one to production line or plan, it's going to give you the may contain claim. And these two are optional to claim, and this one is mandatory to display the allergens. And disclaimer is also optional. And the nutritional factor table, you can upload an image here. All right, that's what I want to show you. And the pack format is where you can add your packaging information. Primary means the level 1, the food contact, the packaging. I selected them. And the benefit of using that is that you can do the tie-high here. Tie-high means the number of layers and also the number of unit per layer. So let's say I load 10 boxes per layer and I have up to 5 layers. It's going to do the calculation by itself, the declared net weight and also the number of layers, the total number of units is also going to be calculated automatically, the gross weight and net weight. All right, and these are these sections hard-coded. In terms of dynamic sections, you can set your own preferred template and start to test. Any questions? No? For anyone who is learning that, I already created a scribe page. And it covers, I would say, most of the content I explained today. You can refer to this page. You should all have access to it. All right, I'm explaining what does each section do.
Len, I just wanted to say these are like excellent. It is so specific and I love the pictures, and that is what I'm going to use to train on stuff. It's really good.
Cool. Thank you, Anjali. So I'm still working on this one. I have a target to finish it by the middle of February. So you can still refer to the content that is already here and let me know if you have questions. Okay, if no more question, we can move to the next module, smart labeling. All right, smart labeling is a module that's supposed to be linked together with smart specification. As you can see, there is a nutrition section, right? All the information you see there, you will see the exact same in the labeling module. So eventually the dev team is going to link those two modules. Whatever you entered here in the labeling module, you don't have to do it again in the smart spec, or whatever you enter in the smart spec shall be imported to the smart labeling. Smart labeling for now, it's very, very simple. All you need to do, first step is to upload a material list to your smart IEM. Even if you find it's too complicated, you can come here to master data directly to create your new materials and new ingredients and new material group. So this master data is linked to your smart IEM. So if you create it here, it's going to display in smart IEM. If you're creating smart IEM, it's going to display under the master data here in the smart labeling. This module is very new, so a lot of things needs to be improved. It only has two menus that you can work on for now. First one is this ingredient. You click create, and you're able to create a new ingredient. And this list is coming from your master data, smart IEM, master data, this ingredient. All right, and you cannot create any other raw materials work in progress as ingredient, and you can only create an ingredient profile using the ingredient list. And I can select the ingredient type, whether it's a single ingredient or compound ingredient. If it's a compound ingredient, you will be allowed to add to build a recipe of that ingredient. You can give it a label name, which displays on the label. And you can also give it another preferred name in this text box if you need to. Upload image, and the source I can say is coming from my R&D, my own recipe. The version number. And under ingredients, click this plus icon. You can select it from USDA database. You can select it from Canadian database. And you can also select it from your own customized database. That is the other ingredients you have created under this menu. Okay, I'll just select the papaya, remove this one, and I want to select the Canadian database and another one from the USDA database, just to show an example. Add ingredients. They'll be here. You can change their label name. You can give the quantity. The apples, I want it to be 50 gram. Corn fritter is like 10 gram, and papaya another 10 gram. And the percentage will be calculated automatically. And on the next page, the nutrient data is going to be suggested from the ingredient profile you selected. All right. If you're creating a single ingredient, then instead of okay, let's refresh it. If you select a single ingredient, instead of the recipe builder, you will have this nutrient listed directly where you can enter your preferred value for energy and fat, protein. And I think it's also going to suggest, yes. All right, it's here. When you enter the carbohydrate and protein and the fat value, is going to suggest to you the energy value. Click on that. It's going to say, according to my calculation, I suggested this value. You can click correct the value. It's going to replace your empty with this calculated value. It's using the Atwater method to calculate all of that. And for this, of course, you can, the fat, I entered 129 gram. It's going to suggest you do want to fill it out for saturated, monosaturated, and polysaturates. If I choose split evenly, it's going to do an even calculation for 3 of them. I can fill them out with just one click. Okay, so step number 1 to create your ingredients. If you do not want to use the USDA and CFIA database, we have the ability to bring more other database. For example, in Chile, in Mexico, I'm sure they're using a different database. All we need to do is to find the API of that database, and our developers are able to input it to our system. All right, and the next step will be building the labels. Click create, And here in this material drop-down list, it will have more options. You have finished products, you have ingredients, you have raw materials, and you also have the work in progress. Basically, you can build the labels for all of them. So for this example, I'll just choose this. The label name is auto-populated. I can change it as needed. The first page to fill out is my recipe. I have to select the percentage or the weight for each ingredient. Quantity, 10, 20, and this 30. So by default, the unit is gram, but you can change it. And you will notice if I change to kilogram, it's going to do the conversion automatically. Right? You're allowed to put different units, but I doubt anyone would do that. So usually you just use the same unit for all of them. The label name is text field. You can enter your preferred name to claim on the label. So let's say in your database is called roasted peas. I think it's pasta, and you made a typo and you want to correct it. You can change it here, and you see the ingredient declaration is going to change. And for example, you have something that you're not obligated to declare. You uncheck this box, it's going to disappear from your ingredient declaration. All right, the nutrient part, you can't really do anything, but enter the serving size. For example, my serving size is 12 gram, and it's 2 tablespoons. There's the tablespoon. And it's going to calculate the energy and the fat based on your selected ingredients and their percentage. And then you can also see the contribution of each ingredient to different values. The allergens is where you select your allergens. I select the different allergens as I go, and I go to claims. I can add claims. And additional information, it's optional. A lot of functionalities are not there yet. You can leave them blank, and I go to labels. I select a country, Canada, standard. And it's going to give me this label automatically. Oh, here. No, wait. Here we go. I think there might be a bug in the QA environment. If you notice the same, that everything is 0 here. Okay, we'll talk to the dev. You can add multiple labels. For example, I'm doing one for Canada and another one for USA. I can select a different format, and the label is calculating by itself here. And in the Canada, it's all 0. I think we just found a bug that we can report. There we go. And you click submit, it's going to be saved. Yeah, Gloria has a question.
Yes, Lan.
Yes.
Is the additional information expensive globally, or can it be configured according to the country?
Which information can be configurable?
The additional info and country that
There is no country here. I think it's only the language and
no, sorry, in label.
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 Yeah. This country. Yes. Why there are only 2 options is because we only studied these 2 regulations. After we finalize our learning plan for Mexico, Chile, and other regulations, we're able to add more options here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you should receive that FUSELA list, right? They give a long list of different countries, Mexico, Chile, China, and Taiwan. They have so many options. We do have to study all the regulations so that we make sure the nutritional factor table we generate here is compliant to the regulations. So it takes time. And I spoke with Claudia. We're going to show Person that on Saturday meeting.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. Any other questions, Lori?
No, thank you.
No problem. And Camilo has another question.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was related to what Gloria asked, because in Colombia here, yeah, the last year we changed and the law about labeling on nutrition facts. So that was my question regarding to.
Yes. So yes, to repeat myself is yes, we can add more countries here, and also I think it's going to take some time because in Colombia, Chile, Mexico, we're in another language. So not just the regulations, we have to make sure our language is correct and compliant to the local regulation. I don't have an answer for now. That has to be Person's call when we shall start implementing the other regulations of labels here in this method. All right, and I think Person would be very happy to hear that you can help studying the Colombian regulation for the labels. I'll let him know. Any other questions? No, we're good. All right, so labels is new. So I didn't prepare any training materials for that. No user guide, no anything. But it's also not that complicated. You only have 2 manuals you can work on, the ingredients and also the labels. The others are just are not really that interesting to explore. And also we don't have a lot of users. The only users we currently have is Midas. So they already have their ingredient database uploaded to the system. We offer that service. All we need to do is to gather a product item code and also the nutrient list that has different columns. We gather that information in tabular format and we can ask a developer to upload from the backend. They can have their customized ingredient database and they can use the labels to start build their database. All right, so I would not prioritize the learning of the smart labeling for now because we don't have a lot of users. And also this module is going to be improved a lot. I know in the pipeline, there are a lot of new features that we need to implement. It's just that it takes time. I would say smart EMP, to learn it as your priority. I think we're going to have more customers. We are already having more and more customers after we compare with other competitors in the market. They find that our product is more powerful to generate the heat map and to monitor the test results, to do the reporting. I would prioritize the learning of EMP, which we already have a learning of the user guide here. If you don't have access to it, ask me, I'll share the link with you. I think it's quite complete. It's very, very long, and you basically have a video or a user guide for every single thing in the manual. And second thing would be learning the smart specification. And that, from what I know, we are also having more and more users. And labeling, you can take your time. All right. I know it's not enough. It's one session. We only take more than an hour to explain 3 modules. It's impossible you'll learn everything in this session. We are having more customers. So if I have new tasks to do the onboarding, I will say it in the group. And if you have availability, let me know. We can start to assign you some tasks and also involve you in the onboarding meeting. All right. Any other questions before I go? Even if you have questions for other modules, I can help. No, we're good. Great. Thank you. Then I'll stop recording. I will forward